Very exciting.
It's overwhelming, to be honest. You know, like I think it's overwhelming in a good way.
All right, a lot of you know that I've been kind of plotting to build a very special car that would be near and dear to me. Twerkstein was never built to be the car that it became. It was quite literally a missile car. And now that I'm here over 12 years later, been working my ass off, been driving my butt off, I want to build the ultimate version of the Twerkstein. So I'm linking up with, whoa. This is a PG video, sir. This is a PG.
That's what I got. That's all I got.
Yo, Hank Hill over here.
Damn it, Bobby.
Hey, you don't got to keep showing us.
Sorry.
You don't got to keep showing us. But I got my man Rob Dahm here.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to help me fulfill a dream. And that dream, if you don't already know, because he's made a video of it, is for those Johnnies right there.
That's right. This is actually a shared dream for me because this is the assembly that I started with that was lost by UPS years ago.
Was that 5 years ago now?
Oh, dude, don't make me correct you because it's longer than that. It's longer than that.
Oh my gosh.
But this is what started my journey, and I feel like it's almost literally like passing the torch to Hert to say, okay, this engine is what got me where I'm at, and while I'm off doing something totally different right now.
something really different.
Yeah, everybody's like, why aren't you doing four rotors? Because I'm not a good enough driver to drive a four rotor.
That's not true.
In a straight line, yes, but in turns, I've learned so much with this car. Going to Pike's Peak. I'm actually leaving tomorrow. We're both going to Atlanta, but coincidentally, but I'm going for a couple driving schools. So this gives me the chance to be like the engine builder.
Oh my gosh, Rob.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is this four rotor setup is your baby.
Yeah. This is very, very special to me. Obviously, I don't sell to customers, and this is technically my heart. Dahm Racing engine number 001. This is the first engine.
You hear that? I'm special.
Who's going to test my engines better? I have a lot of mechanical sympathy. I baby my engines, and I drive differently because of that. And so the more I get into driving, the more I don't give a shit about the motor. And so it's like, okay, now I'm crossing his worlds, but we don't do the same thing.
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why? You sure it wasn't because after the thing that happened to me, no one could look at me without dying laughing? You sure about that? You sure about that's not why?
And so this is a great chance for me to say, A, learn, B, prove.
So I went from feeling pretty special to feeling pretty used. Yeah, very quickly. I got a little bit of a heavy foot. I do some things.
And that's actually exactly what we're doing right now is accommodating for the heavy foot. That's literally what I just worked these rotors over for, is him. If I say, hey, stay at 6,000, he's gonna be at 10. so that's what we're doing right now.
Well, actually, before we go over there, because I really do want to go and talk about this stuff, give me a 1 minute on what you're doing over here. Just like a 1 minute hit.
Yeah, so this is the car that started the channel, the three rotor, right? And so those of you, there's gonna be two types of people here. One is the people that say, yeah, that makes sense. The other people are like, yeah, but bigger, new cars, YouTube is all about new stuff.
Right.
The core, this is what got me where I'm at. My driving skills, my ability to build an engine, my ability to make.
I think the first time I met you, you had this car.
It was this car.
And it basically looked just like this.
No, what's wild is that this is cut right here. So this is all gone. You can see the cuts right here. We're just holding it in place. And we have now moved the engine back 8 inches. This is arguably the best three-rotor swapped FD, because
that's a big claim.
And I'll stand behind it because all three-rotor swaps put the three-rotor in the same spot as a two-rotor, and that messes up the steering.
Oh.
So straight line drag racing, that sort of stuff, that's fine. But as soon as you take a turn, the steering rack's bumping like crazy. Car's jarring, and you have to do all this weird stuff. You have to add all of these adapters and it's just
to correct the geometry.
Yeah. And
so what you're saying is, all right, you have a three rotor. Obviously, it's very custom mounted.
Yes. You know who did that last time? Me. I said that.
Is that a trap? Was that a trap?
I said that there because I was like, I'm gonna do this to myself again. I'm gonna teach myself again.
Oh my God, Rob said.
Yes. So that's actually the perfect example though. Is that on a standard 3-rotor build, this way. Now that's broken. No. So. The engine is up higher to get in the steering rack is under the engine.
Bro, the clearance right there.
Yeah, that's tight.
That's wild.
Yeah. Everybody else has like fitment on their wheels. Mine is the steering. And so we built a whole new subframe. We chopped the lower intake manifold 1.5 inches.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that way we can keep the VIN in this area.
Does that affect?
It'll affect it a little bit, but it's turbocharged. So it's this thing's gonna boost, and it's gonna boost hard. And oh man, I have 1,000 horsepower here instead of 1,000 horsepower there.
Just a little bit of an adjustment.
It might change it a little bit, but it really is such a subtle difference.
That's commitment to the game right there.
Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. Steering rack's in the right spot, but the other big reason is cooling. This car, like everybody's like,
there's no space for it if the rotors are all the way up here.
Because all the previous year, everybody's like, oh man, you need to drive more, and then they're like, oh, that's all you drove. They're like, why aren't you better? Because the lap that I filmed was the only lap that I was at. You see me,
yeah, I remember.
One lap and the car's overheated.
Right.
And so I am dumb enough to I found the biggest guy at the bar and then just sucker punched him and said, want to fight? And that's the way you can look at my Pikes Peak sign up. I signed up to do Pikes Peak, the biggest hill climb event possible.
Oh my goodness, Rob.
With no experience. And so,
a simulator experience.
So Hert knows this, is that I'm gunning to try. I mean, if you're in my spot, you're going to try and make a record. You're going to try and break the existing time. And so my goal is to break that time, building a better car, and like tomorrow, being a better driver.
Who has the time?
Yeah, somebody. The mildly upset man, Michael.
You hear that, Mr. Mike? Mr. Mad Mike, Rob Dahm's trying to come for your time. You might have to come back and show him what's up.
That's right. So Mike set an incredible time of 10:34.95, something like 10:35 or 10:34, whichever way you want to look at it. And so I feel in my heart that I can build a car that can beat that number. But I also have to do this too.
You have to do that, but also he did it in like a family sedan.
Yeah, he did it in a very heavy car. And I want to point out, I'm going to use every piece of technology possible to make the car drive for me. I watched this dude toe heel and doing all the crazy shit that he has the strain gauge, and he's still a consummate driver. So as much as it's competition, the dude, before I even get into this car, he's gonna outwheel me.
Yeah.
So I
won't argue that whatsoever.
Yeah.
There's he's a monster behind
exactly.
the wheel,
And so the only thing I can do is it's like the old fable of like the locomotive and the one guy trying to fight it, is that I'm just gonna use every bit of technology to beat him. That's my strength. That's what I'm gonna do. But
that's nerdy.
Yes, that's right. That's all I got. I don't have driving skill. I don't have charm. I just have to do the nerdiness.
Rob, did you see the way you walked? I walked into this place. No. That was charm.
And so the very first thing problem is that my radiator, the surface area was half the size of this.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah.
Like chop that in half that way.
Yes. So it was vertically this way. So it was like this much. And it was only like this much actual core.
So like a Honda Civic radiator.
It really was very small. And so I was starting to get 2 laps, but with Pikes Peak, you have less air density, all that other shit. So almost 3 times the...
this is massive.
Yeah.
This is massive. I don't know that I've...
And wait, I get 2 more radiators. So I'm going to have radiators on each side too, and oil coolers behind them.
I was going to say, where we normally put oil coolers on these things, you're going to have both.
And so what's going to happen is I have a valve that I'll be able to turn up and down the flow to the front radiators, because we don't know, like, can I accidentally overheat my oil? And oil can get hotter, but I'll adjust the flow to the side radiators. And so use them also to do like cool like water to cool the power steering, cool the transmission. So it's all kind of working together to try and not overheat.
This is insane, Rob.
Yeah, thank you. So we cut up the center of everything. We cut this up. We haven't announced it publicly yet, but TIC Performance is building me a sequential air shifted T56 Magnum with PPG. So this car is going to be, the way I'm doing the simulator, paddle shifted, and the Haltech's gonna control that.
So this isn't just putting a car together for Pikes Peak. Right. You're building an absolute monster of a race car.
Everything. So here's the thing: is that can I take the 4-rotor up there and beat Mike? Absolutely not. To be honest, that car's built horribly. This, I have a very strong long-term understanding of the suspension on this car.
You've been battling this car for a while.
I've been battling this car for a long time, and so now we're dropping the car 2 more inches than it was before. I understand the suspension jamming. I know the limits of this car from an engineering standpoint, and so it's teaching me how to build that to be more like that. And so,
oh wow, oh
yeah.
Oh, for those of you watching, I don't know if you guys know Rob has this, but he does.
Yeah.
He also has that, and he has that too.
Yeah.
And he has that too, but you know.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, is that why am I not doing the 4-rotor? Because next year the 4-rotor is the full, like the stops that I'm pulling out for this one are not even there for the 4-rotor. The 4-rotor is a whole different level. And so I need to be a better driver. I need to have done it once at least. And what better than try to beat it in this record and then use this car as my track car.
Right.
And then build the final version of the 4-rotor.
Wow. Rob, I hope that someday I can dream as big as you.
It's I think it's a mental illness than anything. just like so Hert was like, hey, I want to stop by and like finally film this, and I'm like shit, I need to give him progress. He didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, we need to get these rotors corner balanced or corner clearance. And, yeah, so I think it's an issue.
I mean, it's an issue that I enjoy. Thank you.
This was a running car. I want to point out, this was a running car.
This was a fully running car that he had been racing at Grid Life and all this stuff. And before that, he was doing half-mile races and things like that.
There's nothing broken on this car. Well,
so you're not rebuilding the engine? You're not doing?
I'm going to rebuild the engine for Pikes Peak.
Okay.
But it's 100% fine. Over 95, I think, 95 psi compression on all rotors and everything. So the engine's fine.
You're just going to give it a freshening.
Freshen up, and we swapped to the dry sump, and I think that the guy's got some grinding dust. I'm just not taking any chances.
Right,
I'm gonna take like a lot of these like pedestals off and plug them. So yeah, I'm doing some small stuff just for the dry sump aspect of it. But yeah,
better safe than sorry. You're taking a huge leap here, and it would suck to go there and for something silly.
I got spares of everything coming for that. But yeah, what's interesting is that this car, bittersweet to me because it was solid the way it was. But this car most of this work is to meet the safety requirements of Pikes Peak. So it's forcing me to be a better person. And
that's good.
I need that right now.
I mean, safety is paramount. We've seen some crazy things happen on this mountain. And safety usually comes out on top. So
yeah. And so the chair slayer's making the roll cage.
My boy, Rob meets Rob.
Match made in heaven. And so we're gonna use the roll cage to help strengthen the chassis, drop even more weight, all that race car stuff.
Well, it's funny that you are helping me with a 4-rotor because Rob is also going to help me with a cage too. Shout out to cagekits.org. If you have a car that looks like this and you want to put a roll cage in it and you don't feel like manually measuring anything, call Rob Parsons.
Yeah, Rob Parsons, the chair slayer, the cage kits. The incredible thing about it is that you can't pay somebody poorly and get half of a kit. The price is just ridiculous. And
what really should sell you on this is Rob Dahm his brain is massive. Like, look at this, look at this thing, right? And he knows how to 3D scan. He knows how to CAD design.
I won't do it.
He knows how to do all of this stuff. He could easily do it.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if easily is the right word, but
you see over there, we made a roll bar, and it was nice and clean and tucked and everything. But the amount of time, and as it was expensive, took me way more money than you would expect. And so yeah, the cage kits is just it's you can't compete.
Yeah, I trust them with my life and everyone else's.
Other than the roll cage, getting the center of mass, the center of gravity for this car low.
Right.
So I dropped the whole car an inch and then the suspension an inch, if that makes sense. So the whole car is physically dropping. So I get better flat bottom because I'm actually putting a whole flat bottom and professional awesome big diffusers and all that. So put tons of shit to make the car even more aerodynamic. Yeah. But the whole car gets dropped lower, and I'm doing all these suspension mods to make it run. I'll give you guys this real quick secret. Because of the Indy car, Made some really good contacts at Olin's. They run the suspension for Indy cars. I had to custom machine some parts, but we're custom machining parts to put Indy car shocks on this car.
Rob, what is wrong with you? You're taking this really seriously. This isn't a joke to you at all.
No, because here's the thing. I'll tell you, this is like the real talk right now. If I beat Mike, and I do it as a rookie in a car with one less rotor, you know what that means. I know that he could have gone even faster. He went fucking fast. He went fast. But the point is that there's a chance. There's an area that just everything could align, and I don't sail AWOL Nation off the side of the mountain and set a really good time. And that would surprise a lot of people. So that's why if there was the chance, I might as well take it. So all the schools, making the car the best I can.
I love this because we have a little bit of a parallel, right? We love cars, we do this stuff, but at the same time, we've kind of memed ourselves.
Yes.
We've memed ourselves a little bit,
we
right?
have no problem showing our failures.
Right. So when you do something cool in a car or drive really well, people are exponentially blown away.
That's right.
So my goal with the 4-rotor and this new car that I want to build is to kind of set a different tone and prove that I'm a better driver than what my memes show.
Yeah.
My hood's gonna stay on. I'm not gonna break. Okay, I said enough.
That's enough about this. That's exactly it. Is that I think that you've also had a lot of pieces of rotary engines work for you and some fail for you, and I think that we're both taking this very seriously. It's passion more than just like, okay, cool, I'm treating this like a customer and let's clock in and try and make money. This is actually a very big passion project for me.
Right.
Is to see Hert succeed. It just means a lot to me. So
I appreciate that, Rob.
Yeah. And so this is, as you guys have already learned, this is not cheap to do. It's not cheap to do. But the screaming of the engine is louder than the crying of the owner.
I hope so. I hope so, Rob.
all I got.
I know you've experienced it, so I'm going to trust your experiences.
Yes. Oh, just the sound of it, where you can't even hear the turbo, which I don't know if the T word came up in your.
Oh, we can talk about the turbo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we're going to put 4 of those Johnnies and 1 of those Johnnies on there and make some.
That's right.
Make some juice.
There's no reason to get that big of an engine put together and not boost it.
Yeah, I really wanted to do NA at first just because I always love the sound of it, but at the same time, I double the horsepower with the turbo, and I like the sound of that.
It's so manageable. The Garrett turbos are just cold, ice cold.
Yeah.
It's free horsepower, and you're not taxing the engine.
And I'm honestly trying to cause trouble with this car.
Yeah.
I just want to cause trouble. So
It's just like I was with that car. I guess as odd as that is, it was pretty controversial, and I understand why. But making 700 horsepower with 2-rotor is a lot more than 700 horsepower with 3-rotor and so on. And so the idea is that, okay, let me try and get as much power per rotor as possible. But when it comes to a 4-rotor, it really makes the owner look good because you can make 1,000 horsepower and it's a lot less stress on each rotor.
Right. So in theory, when you take a 4-rotor, put a turbo on it, and only make 1,000 when it's very capable of 1,400 or something to that effect, right?
That's 100% correct.
And then you put a human like me in it, in theory, it should last
at least 10 minutes.
Speaking of 10 minutes, this video was only supposed to be 10 minutes, but Rob is just doing Rob things. I'm not mad at it though. This is fun, man.
You can edit it.
Yeah, no.
I'm not editing this.
He's like, I'm just rack it up. No, I'm cool with it, man.
Yeah.
That was cool to hear all that stuff and talk about your passion
But
here.
yeah, the real issue here is how much heat Hert is putting into each rotor. As simple as that sounds, that's the truth. Because not only is he at the limit the whole time, and even if you're at say 10,000 RPM and then it hits the rev limiter and it's cutting and you're thinking, okay, well it's not going farther. It's still that generating tons of heat, tons of friction. No matter how good your oil is, no matter how good everything is, everything's just creating heat.
Right.
And so just like this car, where I'm cooling it over the top, that's exactly what this engine is going to need, is massive cooling. And I think it'll yawn at what he does. That's the engine, not my work.
Yeah,
So,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So we're at the point now where Rob just took each of these rotors and put them in that big CNC machine back there, and did what he calls clearancing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
clearanced them?
Tip clearance. You know, that'd be the right thing. I did not invent this. If anything, I learned it from the Kiwis. Is just taking a couple thousandths of material off of each of these corners, because at over like 8,000, we'll say 8,700 RPM, you have more mass rotating. Rotors do not spin as fast as you think, though. The rotor spins a third of the speed. So if you say 10,000 RPM, or easier math, 9,000 RPM, this is only spinning at 3,000 RPM. Nonetheless, it's still a 10 pound chunk of metal. And so as you get that going, this is super exaggerated, and then these touch. The through rotor, I do not have corner.
And when he's saying touch, if you don't know, the rotor sits in a housing and there's plates on both ends of it, so it'll slap around.
Yep. And so the through rotor does not have this done. And pull the rotors out, and they're blue on the corners.
From smacking.
From hitting. And that's not good, because that'll ignite fuel. So I've lucked out, and that'll crush your seals and all that. And so the other thing that I had her spend money on that feels like it won't matter, but it will, is this little guy here. And so those are Mazda race bearings. And they got a deeper groove. They're a little bit looser than the normal bearings, because you can spin that engine up faster and get the heat that's in there. The more loose that a bearing is, the more you can get fluid through it.
So when I'm at 10,000 RPM for about 3 minutes, it'll be cooler than it would be if I didn't have race bearings.
That's right. That's right.
Did you just throw up in your mouth a little bit?
I did. I was like, yeah, for a couple. Yeah, that's right though. That's the test. And definitely, I mean, I think the thing that matters most to me is that these things would be covered in ethanol.
Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna be using E85
For sure.
So we're just in cases where he's going super hard for super long. We'll make sure that the tune just throws extra fuel in there, just to mostly kind of wasting it, but actually using it to cool the motor.
Special Hert tunes.
That's right.
Man, this is so cool to see just 4 of these.
It is. It's neat to see, and that they're ready.
I genuinely can't believe that this is happening.
Yeah, we scavenged these parts from the JDM engines.
Yeah, we went to JDM, California to get some engines to make this easier for us, and luckily it made it easier for us.
That's right.
Today is actually the beginning of something very special. 2 13B engines and a Rob Dahm.
I'm excited. I am so excited. It begins.
There's 4 rotors in here, but we got to make them all spin at the same time.
Yeah, you see 4 rotors, I see 2 rat's nests of all the. Look at that, you can see just a hint of the chaos inside of there.
So we're here at JDM, California. This is where I go to get any of my motors. We got these beautiful motors here. We got this beautiful man here, and it is time.
We're married now. Yeah. This is a commitment. For better or for worse.
Are you the husband, or am I the husband, or are we the husband?
Yeah,
we are the husband?
Yeah.
All right.
You know what this is to me? This is, for everybody that's wondered and been mystified by a 4-rotor, this is the most raw, real, honest 4-rotor build I think that you could ever have. Because you have the best test pilot and a guy that's trying to be one of the best engine builders, and we'll share everything that happens. And I feel really positive about this. This will be exciting.
You build, I smash, we win.
Teamwork.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. I've admired your work for many, many, many years, man. I mean, I remember seeing your FD at SEMA in the early stages.
Yeah.
And I remember the time and effort it took you to get from that point to actually getting it running, and how everyone was determined that you weren't going to do it. Like, the whole internet gave up on you.
Every step of the way.
It was insane. It was insane. And to see you come through, man, that was really special. It was a beautiful thing, and that just always made me admire you, man. Clearly nothing can stop you. Nothing will stop you. And so I've just been watching your journey ever since then, and so it makes me really excited to have the opportunity to work with you in any capacity. So.
Well, this is where our journey is. Even not trying to make this work, this is where our journey is aligned, because my engines are lasting so long now that it's like, oh, well, I can finally drive my cars. And you know how to drive. So it's like, okay, let me see if I can build a car.
That's questionable.
Yeah. I believe. It's just as much as you think I can build.
All right, fair. We're on the same page.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
The internet thinks we're idiots, but we kind of can do.
Each other
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the perfect timing to put both of them to the test.
Well, let's get these bad boys to your shop and make some magic happen, huh?
Yeah.
There's 6 rotors there, but I only need 4. Luckily, it made it easier for us.
That's right.
So,
It was right on the edge. Imported engines are always a surprise of what's going on.
especially rotary ones.
Rotaries in particular.
Yeah.
But we have parts that are all usable, and even though they might look a little rough, like the coolant ports, everything, they'll clean up considerably, and we're going to be machining all of them anyway. So just to make it a very firm, solid engine. But
Firm and solid.
that's it. Like, I gotta compensate with somehow. That's how there's all these massive shafts.
What are you making up for over here?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it just keeps getting bigger.
So what got lost in the mail that one time? Was it this shaft?
Yes. So actually, this shaft, these lobes, so these go with it, and they you can't mess them up. Thankfully, see how they're different sizes.
Yeah.
The bigger one goes to the back because this is the torque is transmitting through the inside of this from these front 3 rotors.
Since we're here, let's go ahead and do a 4-rotor Rob shaft
Yes.
explanation. Just
breakdown.
Yeah.
So
These lobes hold rotors, right? So that's
right.
2 rotors right there.
Yep. And the easiest way to show you that, actually, that's not invented out of nowhere. Looks pretty much the same as a 2-rotor. So that's a 2-rotor, that's a 4-rotor. So the idea is that you can't assemble the engine without removing these lobes.
Right.
And so
You physically can't stack.
physically can't do it. Yeah, you can make the middle of the motor, but you can't. The next row just doesn't work. And so all of my E-shafts come from Jeff Bruce. He's a crazy New Zealander.
Oh, that's
who I've
scary.
Formed a long-term relationship with, and it was actually all of his stuff that UPS decided to lose.
So this shaft came from New Zealand.
This shaft came from New Zealand. So what's really fascinating is that this shaft is not the same in almost any way as the Mazda's 4-rotors. They aren't even remotely similar.
Can you buy the Mazda 4-rotor one?
There's like a guy here and there that's got like a 13J or whatever weird. There's a weird Mazda 3-rotor. It's called 13G, and then the 13J is the Mazda's 4-rotor, I believe. And so the spacing of the rotors is all different. The plates, it's more like a 20B. It's more like a Mazda 20B than anything else. So this is a very clean way of doing it. I think this is probably one of the lightest, more compact ways of doing it. And my engine does the same thing, which I'm going to assemble at the same time.
Why you gotta flex on me like that?
Yeah, I know.
Why you gotta just? Can I?
Well, they got to understand that I won't let this go unless I got something else.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And
I
so-
get the hand-me-downs, but I'm very happy. Not a complaint. Not a
The
complaint.
crazy part is the hand-me-downs are going to sound the exact same. So that's the best part. So yeah, a lot of people see these keyways and think that that's where the power is transmitted through. So you put a little piece of metal in there, and then this slides on. That is simply to align it. But what you'll see is once it starts touching this weird-looking area here, that's called the taper, because it's a taper. That area is when this gets pressed down. That's where the torque is transmitted. And so the keyway is just to align it.
So all you need is that keyway in it.
Yep. And so then you'll see.
Well,
see it.
so what are these holes here? Like, what is this hole here?
Yeah. So that is actually on an angle facing towards the rotor, and you'll actually see. I'm going to set this down like this. Those holes I've got spare, but you can see this one right here. Same little thing.
It's like a squirter.
It's a squirter. It's got a little pressure regulator inside of it, kind of. But that sprays oil into the side of the rotor. And so even this little thing here, Logan from Defined was like, yeah, that's a little slinger. It slings oil. And so the idea is that
it's designed to like disperse it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's constantly spraying in here. And while oil and steel are two of the least effective forms of like heat dissipation,
right,
it's still better than nothing. And so this rotor is always filled with oil inside of it. And so the guys that know how to balance with not just the weight of this, but the weight of oil inside of it. So there are no sprayers on this. but we can just transplant them from the 2-rotor E-shafts that you got.
Right. Oh yeah, because I got
Yeah,
got extra.
and I can't use them. And so what you see is this is the backside of the motor.
Okay.
And so that's where, like you see here, the bigger one of the two lets rotors 1, 2, 3 kind of transmit torque through this, and the 4 kind of holds on right here. And so you'll see it nice and clean, tight, and then you can see it,
Wow.
So, and then that one gets tightened by the rear main nut, and unlike a 2-rotor, the front lobe, if you don't tighten the front nut, the front lobe can walk. So
Do that again?
yeah. I have to charge for that. And so with the 4-rotor stuff, it's kind of wild because the timing of these, it doesn't make sense when you look at it initially. So on a 2-rotor like this, look at this. This one fires at the exact opposite. That's why this can sit on the table square.
Right.
This one, if you look at it from here, this lobe is going this way and this one's going down. And so they're 90 degrees from each other. So oddly enough, rotor 1 and 2 fire like a 2-rotor, and then 3 and 4 fire like a 2-rotor, but at the other time. Now this is one thing that I will give Mad Mike a little bit of friendly shit talking to, is that a lot of his cars are more efficient than mine. Kawato-san will have these 2 rotors going to 1 turbo and these 2 going to another. It sounds like 2 rotors. I personally, I give up that little bit of extra response to have all 4 collect to 1, and you get the scream.
So they do it a more efficient way, but the way you like to do it makes it sound.
Because if you do it that way, each rotor can go to divided housing, and you just get whatever 500 more RPM spool. So it's very, very efficient. But like when you hear his car on Pike's Peak, it doesn't sound like the scream on some of other Mike's other cars.
Yeah.
And it's because it's twin turbo, and and it's efficient, very efficient. Since I'm not good, I just want to sound good. I got hate.
Style over everything, baby.
That's right. And so Hert got a lot of the spare parts. Came in this like Beetlejuice looking bag.
Corner seals.
Corner seal springs, not spare, but ones that we couldn't salvage, corner seals. So packing the rotors is going to be one task. And then obviously the apex seals is another task. So what all got lost by UPS was all of those lobes, this E-shaft. And then there are 2 plates that are very special to a 4-rotor. And so Jeff Bruce modifies these middle plates. So this is a middle plate on a rotary engine, and he adds a gear to it. So normally on a 2-rotor, the gears are sticking out of the front and the rear irons.
Right.
And the middle one just goes along for the ride, and it actually is where all this ugly knot of an E-shaft looks like. So this can't sit inside the middle of this anymore.
Right, because there's a bearing. And
so these plates were also what was lost for 6 months by UPS. And so they're special for a 4-rotor. So this actually also was the front one, just because when I was originally buying it, I bought them all as a set.
Right.
And then it sat here. So we do have one thing that we have to do to your engine, because there is a middle iron. This will keep me busy, but this is actually from a much older engine, and you can see it's completely smooth. So I already have the code. I've made this is to cut the coolant seals into here.
Oh, it adds literally add a ring.
Yeah.
A ring to this.
So the hardcore rotary guys already know why. This is from a 12A. This is from a first gen or older RX-7 or Cosmo, and their coolant seals were on here. These are flat on the current ones, and these have the grooves. So the reason why, because this was never really clearly explained to me, but why do you use this in the middle of the engine? Well, the size of the ports matters. Size matters. And so the outer ones feed the outer two rotors just fine. They get tons of air from those two, but the very middle one doesn't get as much air. So this can be machined, or they can make it breathe a lot of air. Is end of the story. More air, more power.
More air, more power.
And more even power.
So you're just gonna open these up.
Yeah, open these up.
Add grooves for coolant.
Yep. Yeah, so all 4 rotors get...
Not touching these?
These we match. So we'll match that to this. So you see it's actually kind of similar size. This one's already long ago. I think Abel actually ported this. And so we'll just match it to that one. And so you can see the port pretty big, stubby, but big. And we have to match this to the same surface area as that.
That's wild.
Yeah, and with modern technology, this is still important, but we can accommodate for it more. Is that the engine would actually go, the engine would actually go lub dub. It would actually have stronger rotor pulses and weaker pulses, and that's not good. So the idea of getting as much of the same air to all 4 rotors is really worth this effort.
Right.
Messing time, because you can actually take. Well, here's a good example. You could take one of these and put it in the very center of the motor. But you can already see the problem is that this is much bigger, these are much smaller. And you can't open these up more. They're very small.
Right.
And you'll get into coolant. So the idea is that the middle 2 rotors would get just not as much air. And so they wouldn't make as much power. And so you'd have this weird like pulsing. That's what we're taking some effort into that. And we're having fun doing it with all used parts. I think that's one of my favorite things about this is how much we can make it possible with used parts. And makes me happy to see this coming together.
I can see it.
Yeah.
You're jazzed.
Yeah, it's satisfying for me. I was originally gonna potentially do this to like my C8. C8's too good of a car for me.
You're just gonna leave it? Are you gonna keep a car the way it is?
I might modify it and learn a different engine platform. Because just like buying the IndyCar engine, I learned a shit ton from realizing that I don't know shit.
Right.
That's simple enough. So kind of buying what other engineers have spent their hard efforts into making pays off. So I think I still have a lot of learning to do.
Yeah.
But I keep taking anything I learned from everywhere else and bringing it back to rotors.
I mean, it's not a bad way to live.
Yeah, it works so well so far. But yeah, we got. I mean, as you know, I keep a lot of this very transparent about what we do or how we do it because I'm always learning and I like sharing that. But I think this engine is going to be like all of the best tricks we've got. Nothing's secret, and Hert will put it to the test. So
that's my job.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that car, I'll be the driver. And I want the guys to kind of treat it more like I'm a driver and they're the builders.
Right.
With this, I'm Hert's builder and tuner. So we'll take turns.
This is exciting. Very exciting.
It's overwhelming, to be honest. You know, like I think it's overwhelming in a good way. It's just to get the short block of a 4-rotor of an engine that really never existed. It's a lot involved.
Little 4-rotor 101.
Yeah.
With Mr. Dahm himself. Yeah, no, this is definitely a feat, and I'm glad you've spent the last 10 years of your life figuring this out.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm excited because you're coming back to the correct side of the LS and RX-7 and back and forth. But did you hit them with the name? You hit them with the name yet?
I didn't hit him with the name yet. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready to drop the name.
The name's too good.
I figured I would start this project off by telling you what motor we're going to use, and then maybe we'll talk about the chassis, and then maybe we'll get into the name. Some of you, if you follow me on Twitch or anything like that, you know the name. I've been teasing it with some of my Twitch community. Very soon, I'll let you know, or you can guess in the comments. But it's a fun name. I really love it. It's honestly so dumb, but it's funny.
Yeah. When I heard it, I was just like, ooh, that's so. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna wait till I go because the car is at Chair Slayer's shop, Cage Kits. So I think I want to go there next, make a video there, do some scanning, and reveal the name of this 4-rotor beast.
Yeah. Well, that gives me time to. The goal, I think, at this point is to get Hert a short block assembled. And on one hand, yay, a short block assembled. On the other hand, now it's time to build the actual car. Yeah, on both hands.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's better than not doing it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I have a dream. I want to live it. So I'm going to make sacrifices and make this happen.
Yeah.
I'm jazzed, man. Thank you so much for your help. This literally wouldn't happen without you.
Yeah.
So you're step one. Other Rob is step two.
Yeah. You just gotta keep finding Rob.
I'm just surrounded by Robs.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to share with the people?
No, I feel good. I feel real good.
So there you have it. 4-rotor turbo coming soon for little old me. Dahm engines, Dahm Racing Engines 0001.
That's right.
Let's get it.